So just real quick,
Yep.
before we start,
Thank you.
obviously we're recording all the lectures and so forth, but you'll notice today I'm going to probably get up and take photos. We're looking for photos for our website, so we just need people teaching. So obviously he's been here forever, so we'll recognize some, take pictures of him. I'm going to try, if I can, to include you guys in it. Just know that if we do ever want to use something that you're in on our website, we have to get your permission. So you will see it, be able to say, yeah, okay, you can use that picture, and I'll have you sign a form. So don't freak out if I'm taking your picture. Don't freak out until I come to you and say, yes, here's your picture, can I use it? Then you can freak out. But otherwise, yeah, I'll just be up and probably taking pictures a little bit today.
Good. Thank you, Rich.
Back.
If we can't recognize your face, I can use it. If I can take a good picture of the back of your head and not need your...
That could be anybody. Exactly, because that's not how facial recognition works. So.
Yep. I'm sure the NSA has pictures of the back of your head that they can identify.
That's a good point. When we asks for some editing, if you do present this with it.
We went through these pretty thoroughly, and I told you that we would save this one until, because it will be in play all semester, because this is the one-to-many level. We call it one-to-many instead of public speaking because there are all kinds of ways in which one-to-many can take place. It can take place in media where you're the only one in the room except the camera, but ultimately it's going to be broadcast to many. So that takes that into account too. But for us, of course, it means public speaking. And we'll ask you to use your electronic devices only to take notes and not to catch up on the latest news. And over here, we already talked about this, but did anybody have their thing with them, or do you remember what the mandate was here?
Information acquisition and retention.
Acquisition and retention. Just because you are a good, articulate person, speaking in the language that everyone in the audience can understand, and I don't mean just Spanish versus American English, I mean no argot, no tech talk, if it's not a tech group. They're talking it, and it's organized well. It doesn't mean that they retain it. But it is more likely that they'll retain it if two things occur. If your delivery is authentic, that means it's you talking to them, not some version of you that you bring up just to make public speeches. That's the basis of distrust. Because if you're not willing to show me who you are, what else might you be hiding? The truth? So it's essential that you be authentic. Also, organization gives your message a platform that is easily ingested, and it stays there because it makes sense. This thing supports this, this follows that, this supports this, and this is the last thing in the conclusion. It all makes sense. Sense goes into long-term memory. Pure data generally goes into short-term memory. In fact, what's the purest data that there is? I'll tell you. The most abstract thing that you can look at and try to remember. A string of numbers. That's the reason that late at night, when somebody is advertising shoes, they give the number, and say, remember, it's 1-800 new shoes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You get up in the morning, you don't remember the number. But if you were interested in ordering some new shoes, you remember that it was new shoes. You remember it spelled out. Because it makes sense to you. You're motivated. In fact, this is so hard to remember that back in the 40s when your phone company was one big company, and they were trying to figure out how to charge more for more valuable information going across their lines instead of just on time, which I don't think any of you guys would ever experienced, but it wasn't that long ago, really, that long-distance landline was based upon how far and how long you talked. The wireless tried that at first, right? There was so many minutes and everybody said, yeah, we're used to now. So anyway, they did a lot of research on information. And they found that there's no way to really find one by, your small talk with your best friend couldn't be charged less than more with me talking about our next team teaching thing that we're going to do. And he's in Los Angeles. It's more valuable, but yours is, there's no way of finding that out. Information theory couldn't and they did a lot of research. They had the money to do the research. So they did, that was important to them. But what they found out was a couple of things that still is important to you guys in your lives today. They found out that no more than 7 bits of pure abstract information can go into long-term, goes into short-term memory for 30 seconds. 7 bits of pure abstract information goes into short-term memory for 30 seconds. How does that affect you today? Your phone number is 7 digits long, aside from area code. And 30 seconds is the time that it takes you to look up a number and get to the phone and dial. Still, that information theory research that they did is the reason, and they found out that if you chunk it, and that's the reason there's the hyphen in there. And long ago, in fact, if you see some old black and white movies, you'll sometimes hear them talk about the phone number is, and there would be a word, and it was only the first 2 letters of that word that went into the number, and then there'd be 5 digits. When I first started working at Hollywood Sport Cars in 1961, I learned the number. My business card had the number on it, but I learned it. It was easy. It was Hollywood 46161. H-O, because I had to listen. And then I found out, I still remember the number that way, from 64. Hollywood 46161, that's easy. And it was because we were in Hollywood, so that first word always designated the area. Like the first 3 digits kind of designates the area now, but I don't know if you know that or not, but if you move clear across town, you'll get a new first 3 digits along with the new number. When I moved to where I am now in 2003, I only moved from approximately Arapahoe Road and Colorado Boulevard. And so my whole phone number could stay the same, because it was still within that first 3 digits area. So I didn't have to lose my phone number. Other than that. I want you to know that, because as you bring these things together, it is important that you make sense, and that comes down to organization. And we're going to not talk about that today, but we're going to talk more about delivery. Over here, we're not going to talk about that yet, because you'll notice that this is attitudes, not beliefs and values. When we approach the persuasive speech, you'll get my big time lecture on this. Over here, in other words, the social judgment, what do you want people to think of you, the speaker? What does it say on the thing? Source credibility. They want to think of you as a person who is credible. Now, credible means several things, but let's hear from you. What do you think credible means? What are some aspects of credible that, yeah?
Classified to be showing that information.
Yeah. In other words, it's classified? What do you mean?
Yeah, like if you're presenting something about a medical study, like, all right, well, they're gonna think of you like you want to look like a doctor, you know, like, or hopefully you are a doctor, because then they'll
Or at least as you make your cites, citing journal reports in the AMA journal, that gives you some credibility, because you're citing a medical journal for support. Yeah, exactly. So, knowing what you're talking about, being judged as knowing what you're talking about, absolutely. What else?
Not factual information.
Yeah, they want to know you're allowed to provide opinions, but you got to be distinguishing overtly between opinion and citing facts. And if you're citing facts, they better be facts. And by the way, statements of fact, if presented as a statement of fact, can be presented as, can be found out as a true statement of fact or a false statement of fact. The statement of fact just means, I know this is technical and I know you're not majors, so hang with me on this because I find this stuff interesting. So I'm going to grab it at you, so what do you recommend? Statement of fact, technically, within the realm of speech communication academia, just means this, that you have made a statement that can be verified through the senses. And that's the reason that methodology is so important in research. Because if the methodology is flawed, then it's being, you can't trust that the count was right, or you can't, something about it. But it isn't just a theory. Oh, wait a minute. How many people have ever seen Pluto? I'm not talking about the Disney one either. I'm talking about the one out in the sky. How many people have ever seen Pluto, even with a telescope? Because that qualifies as seeing it with your senses. You have? Good. Anybody else? 2. Me neither, for the rest of you. How many people doubt that it's out there? Nobody. Not even those of us that have never looked through a telescope. Okay. Why do we not doubt that it's out there? Because lots of people have, and not just freshmen, but world-class astronomers. And enough of them have seen it out there that when we say Pluto's out there, we know because plenty of people have seen it through telescopes. That's then a true statement of fact. But if I say, there's a little star out there, or a little planet out there, called James Highshoe, how many of you believe it? You can't find it. Nobody's been able to find it. I seen it, and I put my name on it, just for me, but you won't find it in a book or anything, and no other astronomers have ever found it, but it's out there. Probably not. Comes down to methodology. But a statement of fact has to be able to be verified by others through the census. At sea level in planet Earth, water boils at 212 degrees. A statement of fact. Now, if you want to see if I'm right, all you have to do is go to sea level, turn up the burner on a thermometer, and it's easy. You can verify that. But if I said it's at 312 degrees, and you went there, that's a false statement. Yeah, it is. Okay. So, that's right. One of the things is credibility is trustworthiness. That is, how good is your information? How can I verify it? Even by going to others who have verified it through their census. Experts. What else? You said you want to look like a doctor. Yes and no. If you read the fine print down along the bottom of your screen, when a person in a doctor's smock with the old, what's that thing called?
Stethoscope.
Stethoscope around his neck, or her neck, walking along a hospital aisle, being filmed, talking about this new medicine that he is recommending. And on the bottom it says, this is an actor, but we have a sufficient number of doctors that will support this message. So just looking like a doctor doesn't quite do the job, because too many of us have been taken in by not reading or even reading, taken in by having actors on TV recommend something that isn't true. Just because my name is Highshoe, I have no expertise in footwear. It wouldn't be a bad thing. Maybe I should see some people, see if I can film a commercial based on my name. Okay. So, and finally, what else? This is probably as important as anything else. Do I feel, while listening to you, watching you, do I feel that you're trustworthy? If I can't trust you, your credibility quotient goes to 0. And if your credibility goes to 0, even if you are making a speech of factual information, not a persuasive speech, you ain't listening. What's the use? It's a waste of your time. Can't trust me, can't even trust my information. And how do you judge whether or not a trustworthy person, that is to tell the truth and to indicate when I'm not or when I'm giving opinions, that I'm giving opinion versus. That's when you judge whether or not I'm being me up here, or reading, or play acting, or memorizing. Because anybody can memorize words, but almost very few can truthfully provide information that isn't so. In an authentic way, being them, in their own skin, like me, like my dog. And we're all pretty good at that. Telling the difference. That's the reason that extemporaneous is the only format that we use in here, except one speech was impromptu, but it's still extemporaneous without preparation. Okay, so I have a little test of your, it's not a test, it's just a, what we call an instrument. Will tell me something. Take one, pass it along, and let me have one. Yes, that's the climate with the dry hand. Here is a list of characteristics that belong to a particular person. Read them carefully and try to form an impression of the kind of person that is described. Okay? Then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 characteristics there. After you've read those carefully, then you go down and you take a look at the paired items, and there are 18 of them. And just based upon the formation of your impression of what this person is like, you must circle or check or somehow indicate which of these pairs you think best fits that person out of the 2. Now I know that there's not nearly enough information here for you to make a solid, but that doesn't make any difference. You make the choice anyway. All right, so go ahead and do this. We are, it shouldn't take you too long, after all. That's what's going on. Have you ever seen this? Every other one. I don't have them now. I think so, but so long ago. We'll talk about this again, and maybe you can turn me on to that. Yeah. Give me this side. I can look. But I'm the teach.
You have to have initials after your name before you're allowed to cheat.
Yes, that's right. You know what PhD stands for, don't you? BA is Bachelor of Arts. MA is Master of Arts. PhD is piled higher and deeper. Doctor of Philosophy.
I thought it was poor, hungry, and desperate.
That's what it turns out to be.
Depends on the area of study, but sure.
This is like that. Okay. I want someone to read his or her selections. Nice and loud.
Ungenerous.
Ungenerous,
Yeah, shrewd, unhappy, irritable, humorless, unsociable, unpopular, reliable, important, ruthless, unattractive, persistent, serious, talkative, self-centered, hard-headed, strong, and honest.
okay. Okay. They may have something significantly different.
I had generous, wise, happy, good-natured, humorless, sociable, popular, reliable, important, ruthless, good-looking, persistent, serious, restrained, altruistic, imaginative, strong, and honest.
Okay, now you heard them both, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which one would you rather hang out with? This person's or that person's?
Yeah.
So how can you have such different perceptions? Well, let's look at this. I want you to go back to the characteristics, and I want you to read the first word real loud.
Intelligent.
Intelligent.
Skillful.
No.
Oh,
First word.
intelligent,
Okay.
Skillful.
skillful,
Industrious.
industrious,
Cold.
warm,
Discernment.
determined,
Practical.
practical,
Cautious.
cautious.
One word.
One word.
Cool.
Cold versus warm. Now, how do you want to be perceived? As a warm person or a cold person when you're up here? Warm, absolutely. As proven in this little mini exercise here. Yeah. And I don't care who you are. I don't care how nice a person you are, you're making those judgments almost all the time. If you have a boss who comes in every morning and says, "Hi group, how we doing? All right, another day, another progress." How do you feel about that person? Yeah. Especially if he stops by or she stops by every once in a while and say, "I read that report from last week. Nice work." That's a warm person. That's a person you want to do your best for. Some bosses come in, go straight to their corner office, dial up their reports and stuff, and the only time you ever hear him or her is when they walk by mumbling about how the performance needs to get better. Cold person. Don't care about the human aspect. Okay, so as long as we're doing that, let's describe what you would see that would make you say to yourself, "This is a cold person," or something like that. What's the first thing that you would say, cold or warm? You can use either one and give me a word that makes you, that when you see the person once 100 times, what's the first thing that you notice that's gonna make you lean toward warm or cold?
Smile.
Smile. Absolutely. What else?
The way you dress.
I'm sorry?
The way you dress.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say that.
The way they dress,
I would
yeah.
say how someone dresses and
If they dress appropriately for the conditions that are going on, yes, absolutely. I know, and I know I have the reputation in the department, as an overdresser. This is about as casual as I get. But, once spring gets here, you guys are gonna be in for some shock days. But yeah, but I dress this way for a couple reasons, and I think I've told you already. One, respect for the position, and respect for you guys, because I'm old school. But I know that this is inappropriate for some conditions. In fact, doing workshops out there for pay, 2-day workshops, 10 people, $5,000. I've had clients tell me not to wear a tie because their training is done in business casual and they don't want people to feel inferior sitting out there with a person all, you know, tidied up in a tie. My bad for not asking in the first place, because it's important to be appropriate. But yeah, no. Okay, good. What's another thing that determines it?
Just like big is that when somebody doesn't shake your hand correctly, like they'll like, oh my god, I like shut off that person completely, and I'm like, nope, I'm not.
You're right, but sometimes you don't have a chance, but you're absolutely right. The nonverbals, that's the main feature of the nonverbals for you, and I think it is for most people. In fact, what do we tend to call a person who's perceived as cold? Cold fish. And that comes from the handshake, kind of a clammy, limp. You're right. What else?
They don't show emotion.
They don't show emotion. You can't tell what they're thinking, what they're feeling, even what they want you to feel. They're telling you what you ought to feel, but you can't tell if it's authentic because they don't show it. I've made presentations in which I've cried because I've used a story to support a point, and that story was very poignant to me. I'm a pretty open person. I'm an open book. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're shy, I'm going to try to make you an unshy person before this class is over with, before this semester is over with. No. It means that I'm going to ask you to provide the nonverbals through authentic behavior that would make you be judged as credible, worth listening to. To get that started, this is non-graded, but I'm going to ask you to come up. Stand out there, but not be, a series of one-on-ones. Stay back in this area right in here, someplace. You can move over to here, you can move over to here, you can move over to here, but stay right in this area, genuine, and relate something that was very exciting and or important to you that's out of your experience, that comes out of your experience. In other words, not something that's academic or requires a lot of memory. Something that you can kind of relive. And I'll give you an example. I'll dispense with the background, and I'll just start here. A little bit of background. In February 1964, I'm entered into an amateur sports car race at Riverside, California. Classic old track, wonderful track. They had pro races there as well as amateur. Good track. There were 38 cars in my class in that race that day. I was driving like an MGB. Anybody familiar with that? Or a Miata. Race preps, but still production class. 38 cars, and I had amazed myself by qualifying third. That was my first race ever. Riverside at that time had 9 turns. The first 5 came in the first half mile, called the S's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there was, that ended with turn 6, a big horseshoe turn, down and up a hill, and another half horseshoe turn, turn 7, and 7A back, which led to the back straight, which you could get terminal velocity that your car was capable of. It was long enough to do that. And then turn 9, a real big horseshoe turn that even in my production car, it was about an 80-mile-an-hour turn. And there was boilerplate all along the outside. You know, if you lost it, it was boilerplate. Not forgiving at all. No runoff area. I was so jacked up and so full of adrenaline that I remember the flag falling, and I wish I could remember, but I can't. The adrenaline just drowned out all the synapses, I guess. But I remember going into turn 6, I'm in second place. I have passed a car of equal performance in the S's, which is kind of like impossible. They're all very fast. And around that, and down, up over turn 7, and as we stop, he drives right up to my door, but I maintain. 7, down the back straight, I'm up, and he's right on my butt. I come down into turn 9, and I heel and toe and double shift, double clutch downshift from 4th to 3rd, up, around, out, and that's the way it goes for the next all but 5 laps. It was a great, great day. I wound up spinning in turn 7 because he drove up there. I kept going deeper and deeper, trying to lose him. And finally it was too deep. But we had by that time outrun the rest of the field by so much that I didn't lose. I just lost the place to the guy. So I finished 3rd. Okay. See, that doesn't take any requirement. I don't have to stop and think because, that's so vivid in my memory. I want you to pick something like that and just talk to us. It doesn't have to be that long, but it should be a minute. Yes, I'm recording. And yes, it'll appear ultimately on your flash drives. that there's nothing else writing on this. Be as big as you can be within your personality. Loud and animated. And by the way, did anybody notice anything when I downshifted?
You used your hands to show that you were down.
That's right. Anything else? I'm shifting with my left hand. What does that tell you about the car I was driving? It's a right-hand drive car, it's an English car. Now, I do that now, I'm aware of it, but the first time I did it, a student came up after me and said, "Were you driving an English car?" And I said, "Yeah, how would you know?" He said, "Because you were shifting left-handed." I said, "I didn't even know what I was doing." I was so deep into the recreation of the moment that that's authenticity. When you don't even know that your nonverbals are matching exactly the experience. That, folks, is when everybody trusts that it happened the way you're talking. All right, so we're going to start back here in the cheap seats today. And so everybody start thinking about what you're going to talk about, because I don't want any, I don't have anything. Yes, you do.
Alright, so I don't know if all of you guys.
Wait.
Okay.
First, yeah, sorry, I got ahead of myself. First, let me erase this and we'll put your name up as usual.
No, it's not great. It's not great.
Right, erasing. There it is.
I kinda came in at the end of the speech.
I know, I am.
Hey, I'll check, I don't have a lot.
Do you have one?
Oh, come on, come on.